Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for June 28th, 2018. I am your host, Alexander Coffey, joining you for a Nintendo News Report where we are going to be talking mostly about the games we've played because that's more relevant than a lot of the news we actually have to talk about this week. I am joined, as usual, by one Donald Terrio. Hi.
Hi. Nothing like summer games done quick to make you realize just how bad you are at video games.
What's your favorite speed run you've seen so far?
The dude who beat Mario 1 in 6 minutes with one hand.
No way.
Yeah, and the sad thing is his personal best is under 5.
With one hand?
With one hand. Middle finger on the D-pad and index finger on A and B.
Oh, he must have been really good at Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yeah.
There's a Paper Mario one that they did today that I wanted to see, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. How fast do those things archive to YouTube?
Usually within a week or so of the event ending, which is Saturday night into Sunday morning Eastern time. So sadly I will have to miss the last run, which is a shame because I really would like to see what they do to beat Final Fantasy VI quickly.
But that stuff archives on Twitch immediately, right?
Yeah, Twitch, and they have like a video on demand section on the GamesDoneQuick.com site. So
okay.
So as soon as they can get them up there, basically, you should see them.
How fast they beat Paper Mario in?
It was about an hour and 55, but they got some really bad RNG, so they were playing it on a Wii U, so they had to actually use the restore points.
Nice. All right. To start off, I'm going to pass it off to Justin, who went to New York to play some E3 Nintendo games, including a game featuring his beloved Ice Climbers.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I do want to bring up something from last week since I wasn't here. And I just want to say how excited I am that Nintendo is grabbing more of their arcade classics like Donkey Kong and Sky Skipper, which has never seen a real solid official release outside of Japan, I guess. And I love this stuff. But one question remains, which I haven't been able to find answers for, and nobody seems to be asking this question but me. Who owns the code for Donkey Kong and those old Nintendo arcade games now? Did Nintendo go and buy it back from Ikegami, who is, I guess, heavily rumored to have won the lawsuit and owned the code for the last 37 years to those old Nintendo games that they helped program for Nintendo? Or is the code on loan? Is there some licensing deal? Does Hamster own the code or have the licensing deal? I don't know. Something's going on here, and not many people are searching for the answers from what I could tell.
Yeah.
So would that include like the code for Popeye? Because there's some other reasons why that game would not be coming back out.
Yeah, I'd have to see the dates, but I think the game that really started the lawsuit, and I could be wrong here, but I think it was Donkey Kong Jr. that Nintendo programmed themselves but used the original code is like a base for, and that's when they got slapped with a lawsuit because Ikegami wasn't getting any, I guess, money from that.
Dale asks, did the Super Mario Bros. One hand guy actually just have one hand?
No, he has two hands, but he had the controller on the arm of the chair, and it was sat down. You could see that he was playing it one-handed.
Gotcha. So
anyway,
you got your NES games, your not NES games, excuse me.
Yeah,
3 versions
classics.
of Donkey Kong and Sky Skipper's coming out in a few weeks. That's going to be real exciting for you, huh?
Oh, it is. Yeah, I'm real excited for that stuff. I love like this retro look at Nintendo, and the fact that you could play these arcade games in your home for the first time ever really is amazing. I've been getting all the Nintendo arcade archives.
This Switch game, especially if Sky Skipper, is preserving the game forever.
Basically, there are a few people who have found the code of Sky Skipper on Popeye boards. I guess there were something like 10 demo boards made, I guess, when they did like a local testing for Sky Skipper in the States. But those boards were repurposed for Popeye. But some people have found those and actually made reproduction machines after reverse engineering Sky Skipper back out as the game that loads when you put that in. So there are, I think, only 2 cabinets that are out there, and these guys actually got access to the one cabinet Nintendo has, and Nintendo let them scan the whole artwork and everything to make like reproduction cabinets.
That's cool.
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about that, check out Sky Skipper Project. Look that up. But yeah, I'm excited for that. But more pressing, I guess, for this week.
Justin, quick thing about your microphone. Is there any way you can push it slightly further from your face?
Yes, I think I can. Let me bend it a little. How's that?
Tiny bit. Talk.
Hello, testing.
Okay, you got to push it back in a little bit. You know what I'm talking about, Donald? How sometimes with him, he's like, yeah, there's a little bit of a peaking. Yeah.
Didn't seem so bad for me, but
okay. Okay. All right, Justin, as you were Nintendo E3ing.
Yes. Yeah, yesterday I went to the city and got to play some E3 games that Nintendo and some third parties had. We only had about an hour. I was there with Jared, and I do want to say the playing conditions aren't the best in the environment we were invited to play in, meaning the TV had some pretty bad input lag, which was very noticeable when I played Smash, and that may have hurt my opinions on things. But at least I know it's a problem with the TV, but it just makes it so playing these games is a little more difficult than would be in a real life situation as far as I'm concerned. But the first game I got to play is Starlink with the Star Fox. I don't know what they're calling it, the action figure type thing. I got the R-Wing with Fox in it on the controller. So this game was actually pretty cool. If you like Star Fox, you're probably going to like this game. It plays a lot like it. There were two modes of transportation, it seemed like, where you can fly, and that had some slightly different controls, or you can have the vehicle basically hug the ground, and that felt a lot more like a landmastery type thing, but it wasn't a landmaster, and you could like hop up over different enemy things and whatnot. And I had to destroy some different outpost things basically and enemies, and then I fought a boss, which was really cool. Different enemies have different weaknesses to certain, I guess, guns you can attach physically to the ship. So there might be some mixing and matching that comes into play if you want to have the best advantage. But Starlink is cool. I know John Raridan's going to be happy with that one when he finally gets a chance to play it.
Very good.
Then I was shown Overcooked 2. I tried to play. I've never played Overcooked before, and I was just in over my head, to be honest. It's really hard for me to judge this game because I really wasn't picking up on what I needed to do till the end of that demo. I don't know. Have you guys ever played Overcooked before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get the people together for it.
Yeah, it seems like once you get the hang of it, it'd be a good multiplayer game, but it's really hard for me to judge since I was basically learning what the game was instead of playing the game within the limited time I had. I watched a Monster Hunter demo. Jared was playing that one, and it looks like Monster Hunter. This is Generations Ultimate, but I do want to say we played it in the handheld mode, and the game looks really nice on the Switch screen. It was pretty beautiful. I'm not the biggest Monster Hunter fan, but I think Monster Hunter fans will be happy with the way it looks. Then I got to try some Pokemon Let's Go with the Pokeball Plus accessory.
That is a face of excitement if I've ever seen one.
The demo was very limited. I was just in Viridian Forest. You walk around, bumping into Pokemon, then you catch them, very much like in Pokemon Go. And battles were basically the same as you know them in traditional Pokemon games. I do want to say the Pokeball Plus Rumble feels really good. So that's something that's awesome. And it was nice to actually feel what the Pokemon attacks do. So when I had like Pikachu use his Thunderbolt attack, you felt it in that Pokeball. And that was... I think it adds more of a punch to what you actually do in the games that was lacking on the 3DS version since there was no Rumble feature.
Oh.
But one problem I do have with the Pokeball Plus is that the main button you use to select things with it is the button on the stick. And every time I'd press the stick, or most of the time anyway, it would kind of like move the stick first and then press in. It was like hard to do like a straight down press, so it would oftentimes move the cursor off the option I wanted. And then you have to press the other button on the top to go back. So you have to kind of be careful. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem in the final release of that. Not.
So it's hard to say if the game itself is actually much better or worse. Like they didn't take you through that Brock gym. You didn't get to explore Pewter.
No, I didn't get to do much exploring. I was just in the forest. I don't even know if I could have left the forest.
Yeah. Okay. And so you would say you just didn't play enough to actually have too much of a overall opinion of it?
My opinion's somewhat positive right now. If you've seen any of the gameplay of it, you kind of know what you're getting into. There's things I like better about it than the main Pokemon games, and that's the fact that there are no random battles. I hate random battles in video games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather see the Pokemon and be like, oh, that's when I want to fight. I'll get some experience, or just clear out the screen before progressing, and not just waste time running through areas, getting in random battles with things I don't want to waste my time with. Because when I play Pokemon games, I don't know how you do it, but I really stock up on repels at certain points and just ignore all the nonsense in the random battles.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'm still looking forward to it. I just think we haven't seen enough to actually say that much for sure on how this thing's going to be. People are really upset. Game Freaks, well, like a lot of the hardcore people are really upset. Game Freak is saying, hey, trust us. We know who our Pokemon fans are. And I guess we'll see on November 16th.
I don't see any reason for anybody to be really upset about this game, because even if this is something you don't enjoy that much, you are getting the next generation of Pokemon games next year. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, there are worse holdovers out there.
By far.
Yeah.
By far. So
I remember...
Nobody has a real solid right to be upset that these games exist, as far as I'm concerned. If you're upset that these exist, you're just being a baby.
I would rather have Pokemon Let's Go than Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon as the holdover game. And I say that as someone who likes Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. You agree, Justin?
No, I don't like Mystery Dungeon at all.
Yeah. All right, so you went over Monster Hunter, Overcooked, Starlink, Pokemon, and now I believe that leaves us with the Super Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers. I got to play 3 rounds of Smash Brothers. Unfortunately, they were all with 4 people playing, items on, and 2.5-minute time matches.
Oh, so the way it should be.
Well, the way it should be if you don't want to learn any characters and just pick up items and press A to throw them. Yeah, if that's fun to you, and that's fine. You can enjoy Smash that way if you like, but I like to get into deeper mechanics and learn the character movements and abilities. And this environment, and throw in the input lag issue for this game especially, throw all those things in, and it wasn't the best Smash experience for me to learn what this game can truly be about. That said, I did try the Ice Climbers out. There are some differences. Their up air move is different. It doesn't do like a poke anymore. They kind of swing their hammers really hard, which might be a good kill move. I'm not really sure. Their Blizzard both shoots in the same direction. Their grab mechanics don't allow for cheapness anymore with kind of like chain grabs or infinite grabs, as far as I could tell in the demo. And I didn't see it on the treehouse or anything, but they do still have their secondary recovery, where if you hold over and tap B really fast, they will gain altitude, so they're not just stuck with their belay recovery, the up B. So the Ice Climbers are back. One more thing I should know I'm a little disappointed with is that when you change their costumes, none of the costume options switch the lead Ice Climber to Nana, which in the other Smash games, both Melee and Brawl, that had them, I think half the costumes had Nana as the lead Ice Climber. So if you wanted to play as her, you could. But as of right now, in the E3 demo for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there's no way to play as Nana. So Nintendo's listening. Please change that, please.
Mechanically, does it feel more like does it feel like a Smash Brothers 5 or does it feel like a Smash Brothers 4.5?
To me, it feels like a Smash Brothers 5, and one of the biggest differences I've noticed compared to the previous Smash game is not only the character speeds in general, but when you hit characters, they have what I've heard some people call like a balloon physics when you hit them hard, where the velocity of how far or how fast they get to their endpoint is super fast, and they come to almost an abrupt halt. It's like you're punching a balloon. And that's a little disorienting coming from the last Smash Brothers game, because there's times when I hit people while playing pretty hard and they just fly really fast and you're almost certain they're going to die, but then they don't, because then they just come to that halt near the end. So that's definitely going to be something I have to get used to. I also tried Ridley and the Inkling. Ridley's Final Smash, I hit on 2 people, and that was pretty awesome, as he just blasted them against Samus's ship.
Mm-hmm.
But Inkling's a lot more complicated. It was really hard to learn that character in the environment I was playing in. But I'm really excited to play more Smash. I wish I had more time to play Smash. If I could just have like 5 hours with the For Glory demo that was at E3, which obviously wasn't what I was playing, I think I'd be a lot happier and have a lot more to talk about. But it's Smash Brothers in the end, and I'm happy to have played it.
That's good to hear. We got some questions / comments in the chat. Justin, do you think Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be the final SSB game? It'll be hard for them to top it. You say no.
No, I mean, if there's money to be made, Nintendo will make another Smash Brothers. Even if Sakurai isn't going to do it, I think they'd still have him come by as in some sort of lesser advisory role. But we were talking about this before the show, but I do think Nintendo is going to have to figure out some way to top this if they do it again, because if they don't bring everybody back in the next one, I think there's going to be a lot of angry people who just write it off and say, oh, it's not as good as Ultimate because it doesn't have everybody. So the challenge keeps increasing every time they come out with one of these games, because people are going to expect a larger roster, and every Smash game has had a larger roster. So I'm hoping that Nintendo just builds these games in a way that a lot of things could be ported over in some sense to the next platform. They need some like forward thinking with this, and I think that's what they did with Smash for Wii U to Smash Ultimate. It's the only way a lot of these characters could have been ready, is if some things like their animations and stuff got ported over, and then they could do touch-ups here and there.
Yeah, we were talking about this and right before the show, and what my suggestion was is that they're going to use this one to put everyone in the game, few new characters, and the next one's going to be more of a reboot, where you're probably going to have a number of characters between Melee and Brawl, like a solid 30, and you're going to have all the standards, you're going to have some new ones, and it's going to cut a lot of them out. Like, I don't think Pokemon Trainer has a place in whatever the future evolution of Smash Bros. Is. Even though I say that as someone who thinks Pokemon Trainer is one of the best, like, most fun characters in that whole game. I just think ones like those are going to fall by the wayside a bit. Like Fire Emblem will probably get 2 reps if they cut it back to basics. But I'm guessing it's going to be a total like overhaul of the battle system, and it's going to be a third or maybe half the characters. I don't know. Dale,
I really don't think that's going to happen. But
you don't think so?
You're allowed to have that opinion.
All right.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, all right. Dale says he thinks it might be the last Sakurai Smash Bros. I was reading the Famitsu translations of his column today. He sees Smash Bros as his baby, and I think it's going to be really hard for him to leave.
Well, there's only so much young blood he can drink.
Yeah. Him and Kojima.
Something I do want to bring up while this is on being discussed. Every time a Smash Brothers game comes out, people are saying this is going to be the last Smash Brothers. It's not going to be the last Smash Brothers. I'm willing to put a ton of money on before the time I die there will be another Smash Brothers after this Smash Brothers.
Yeah, it'll probably be at least a few years though. Yeah. It won't be on this system. This is the Smash we're getting.
No, I mean, I think Nintendo is going to milk this game for a couple years, even with DLC and whatnot. So,
yeah.
Especially with Nintendo Versus being around and how they're supporting the whole tournament scene more, I think doing that and having this be their major focus moving forward, plus the DLC every once in a while, is going to earn them some money. I mean, even people who aren't into the tournament scene will buy the DLC, let's be honest. And this has a larger user base than the Wii U did, so there's more money to go after this time.
Very good. Very good. So, more on that when they reveal characters in the next Nintendo Direct. I think we're probably only going to have a few more newcomers. I've been following a lot of the Smash Bros. Discussion on 4chan, where like they're doing a lot of like suggested rosters. And they're like, oh, there's going to be Ashley and King K. Rool and Simon Belmont and Waluigi and Rex and Pyra and Elma and Bomberman. And I'm just like, you're going to get like 2 of those at most.
Bomberman's already an assist trophy.
Well, no, I don't literally mean Bomberman. But I mean like, but that's sort of the energy of that it's going at, where like they think there's going to be another 12 to 15 just because for Smash Bros. 4, Sakurai asked the question of like, I wonder how many characters we can really push this to for a roster without even saying like there won't be that many more newcomers. In this Direct, he literally said, don't expect that many newcomers because we made our foremost priority putting all these characters into the game, which makes me think that we'll probably get an even 70, as in like maybe 5 more characters, 2 of them echoes, maybe.
No, it could. I don't expect that many more.
So I'm saying 2 echoes, 3 playable characters. You think that's too much to ask?
Let me say this: I don't expect too many more characters, but I think more will come with DLC over time, over the next 2 years.
All right, I think that's probably fair. Like I think Springman and Rex and Pyra are characters that should be in Smash, but likely weren't suggested for the roster by the time this was originally planned. So I'm guessing DLC is where those characters are going to get a chance, which is fitting because Xenoblade became double the game it was thanks to free DLC and updates.
Yeah, I think I think Rex could actually be on the roster before or when this game launches, just because I feel like they're going to do some sort of Direct where they push the new Xenoblade game, which is almost like its own separate game at this point, the Torna thing. But once they announce that, I feel like they could increase hype for Xenoblade in general and try to get like a secondary push on sales for the original release of Xenoblade 2 by saying, oh, look, Rex from Xenoblade 2 is in Smash Brothers. And then people will go, oh, really? Maybe I should play Xenoblade 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 characters fighting on Battlefield, and then it's gonna be Shulk. It's gonna be 2 other characters, maybe Ridley and Splatoon to just sort of do their new characters, and then eventually they're gonna hear like a slash, and you're just gonna hear, "I like your attitude," and then it's gonna be presenting Rex and Pyra. Rex and Pyra. Break, topple, launch, and smash. I think there's room for that kind of trailer. But don't you think that because Xenoblade X released in what was it, tail end of 2015?
Yep. Well, April in Japan, but most of the world got it in like December.
Which is kind of right around the character roster would be finalized.
I just don't
for Smash Bros. 5. I don't think
X was big enough overall to really have that kind of impact.
That game sold over 500,000 copies. How much did Xenoblade 1 sell? It was like...
It was about probably under... Well, we don't really have sales numbers from the US is the problem because of the GameStop exclusivity on it. But I think it was probably 400,000 for the first Xenoblade and then a little bit more than that for X.
Okay.
I'm 3DS or new 3DS version.
Oh.
Below par.
And you have Wii U virtual console.
I don't know how many people would. Yeah, I wonder how many people would have actually bought that game on Wii U VC.
It looks like maybe about 200,000 copies on 3DS version, and then almost 200,000 copies by the end of 2013. X might have sold better than original Xenoblade, believe it or not, even if Xenoblade's a much more beloved game. Huh. That's interesting. Well, Xenoblade 2 like is both of those put together, so yeah. All right. That's enough Super Smash Brothers for now. We have we'll have
plenty of time to talk about Super Smash Brothers.
I just love Smash Talk, but we do have other things to cover today.
By the time we get to episode 100 in this show in the next 3 months, there is going to be probably 2 hours of Smash discussion at least between all of our episodes, maybe more. So there you have that to look forward to. I played a couple cool games. I played something that the embargo lifted for tonight, Wolfenstein 2. That one has a review by Mr. John Raridan on NintendoWorldReport.com. Check that out. We also got a video review on this Nintendo World Report TV YouTube channel. He seemed to like it. I am about 30 minutes in, and I think it's pretty cool. I played some of the original Wolfenstein, well, the original reboot Wolfenstein on Xbox One, I think sometime last year. Got to Chapter 8. Kind of fell off, wasn't necessarily that engaged by the combat, even though I thought the story was kind of cool. So what I did was, I watched a 13-minute story summary of the first game on YouTube. Then I got into Wolfenstein 2, and what it does is, it actually gives you about a 10-minute summary of the first game. So I got 2 different summaries of the first game. And then it also gives you a choice. There's a key choice in the beginning of Wolfenstein 1 that's sort of, it's the Fergus choice. Do
you get Jimi Hendrix or not?
It's It's the one from the very beginning of the game where you decide who lives, who dies, and it kind of ends up playing into the rest of the first game and a lot of the second game. So you get to make that choice too, and it gives you a little story background first. So I played the first 30 minutes of that game. I like that they did the background. I played it exclusively in handheld mode. And it feels good mechanically. As a first-person shooter, it feels good in handheld mode. And I'm very excited to say that. The story's gripping me in immediately in a way that the original Wolfenstein did not. I am playing it on the easiest difficulty because the shooting is not the best part of these Wolfenstein games. I'm open to playing a shooter on hard. I played Doom on hard when I played it on PS4 a couple years back. But for this game, I kind of wanted the easy mode power trip, and I also wanted to experience the story, which by most accounts is the best part of these Wolfenstein games. The only complaint I would say I have so far is that in handheld mode, which is the only way I've experienced it so far, it does look a little muddy and washed out, which I noticed John commented in the review. Like a couple of the faces are sometimes hard to see. It almost reminds me of being in VR and looking at character models, how like it's a lower resolution. Like it kind of has that thing going on. I wonder if that'd be fixed on the TV docked mode. But the shooting itself controls excellent. And the game looks good enough that like it is a little washed out, but it doesn't necessarily ruin the experience by any means.
So did you only play a half hour because the game runs so hard on the Switch you had to basically recharge the battery after that?
No. I was sort of killing time at work because I was done with work for the day, and I was waiting for the public trains to clear up because it gets super busy between 4 and 6 p.m. So I had an extra 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I played the intro there, which, by the way, takes place from a wheelchair, which is pretty cool. I've never played a World War II shooter where you play as someone in a wheelchair. So that's pretty fun. Not a spoiler.
Does the game support motion control aiming?
Yes, it does. I have not played that yet, but it does support motion control. I bet it would feel a little bit like Splatoon, and I'm not so sure I want my Bethesda shooters to feel like Splatoon.
Well, I mean, if you've got Doom on Switch, you can try it there because it's basically the same thing that they patched into it.
Yeah, it is. They're adding the Doom mode into this one. I hope that game becomes $20 at some point. Doom on Switch, because I want to replay that with the sequel now. But relatively positive first impressions. Dale says the gameplay is decent, at least on the first one. I did feel the gameplay was decent in the first Wolfenstein, and I feel like it's decent so far. I guess my complaint is that it doesn't feel as good as Doom, and it does that thing where it just throws a lot of enemies at you, which is kind of my least favorite gameplay design of circa 2008, 2010 shooters. So, I don't know. There you have it. I also played a couple other games. I finally got around to trying out the first Chibi Robo on GameCube. That is a different game than I expected it to be.
I mean, what did you expect it to be?
I didn't expect it to feel like a Japanese PS2 game. Which is exactly what the original Chibi Robo plays like, where you're a little Chibi Robo, you're in a house, you're helping families, you're helping this family do their chores, you're cleaning up for them, you're solving a little mystery inside the house, and then around an hour in, the story twists and turns a little bit. And one thing that I had heard about this game, but I didn't realize, is that this game actually touches on some shockingly heavy issues for a Nintendo-published video game. It deals with the collapse of a family, or the near collapse of a family would be more accurate, with a daughter who's sad because her parents are fighting all the time, a dad who isn't working and isn't really looking for work, an overstressed mom who is not happy because she's balancing the bills and there's no money in the account. And Chibi Robo's job over the course of the game is to fix all these problems. And I played about 6 hours of it so far. It's pretty good. It's not really as much of a platformer, because like your jumping is very small and limited. It's if you played Photo Finder on 3DS, it's the same style of gameplay as those exploration modes. And it plays pretty well. I think because the focus of the game is chores, I actually found myself getting a little tired of the game, because when you're doing a game about chores, sometimes you kind of ask yourself, I could be using this time to do actual chores instead of throwing away the trash in Chibi Robo's fake house. But I enjoyed the 6 hours I played. It's a little hard for me to go back to it after I continue to make that realization. But Justin, you're a fan of the first game.
Yeah, I'm not like the hugest fan, but I think it's pretty good. It's a neat late-gen GameCube game. I do think it's a shame we never got the new Play Control version on Wii that Japan got. But I think that's the best Chibi Robo game, is the original. It's like you said, it does touch on some of those heavy issues, and I just found it interesting. There's a lot of fun characters thrown into that world. That's kind of, or the world kind of reminds me a lot of Toy Story, where like certain toys come to life.
It is very Toy Story. It's kind of Nintendo Toy Story, and it is kind of Pixar-esque, where you think it's a kid's thing, and then it kind of pulls the rug out from under you a little bit. Yeah. So I played a little bit of that. And then I played a little bit more Chibi Robo Photo Finder because I fell off that. I don't like that game very much. I just the picture mechanics, and then it also feels like a watered down version of the first game's gameplay, and it kind of takes a really long time to progress the story in that thing. A little too long for a Nintendo eShop game.
There's a story in that game.
Well, it's kind of like Chibi Robo, where there's kind of a story. It's more like there's a premise and scenarios. But as far as I know, it is possible to roll the credits on Chibi Robo Photo Finder. I just didn't get there. But
yeah, I had a hard time with that game just because the lighting in my house isn't the best, I guess, for the 3DS camera. So I'd be taking pictures of things, and it didn't know what I was taking pictures of, so I kind of just had to give up on it.
Did you play either of the DS ones, Justin?
Only one came out here, right?
Yes,
I thought there was one that was a Walmart exclusive. Yep. Although I think I got that one for 50 cents out of an EB once.
That started as a Walmart exclusive, and then it became not a Walmart exclusive, and you can get it for like $12 on Amazon now in the States.
But the thing is, when I was hoping to buy one that wasn't Walmart exclusive, but I ordered it from a separate retailer. But when I got it, it had the Walmart exclusive box art. So I don't know if Walmart just kind of like, man, nobody's gonna buy this game. Whoever wants to buy these off us can have it to other retailers, and if they spread out. But I got to look into that to see if there actually is a North American non-Walmart exclusive box for that.
Almost like how Five Below gets all these Animal Crossing bulk amiibo.
Yeah, exactly. That type of deal is what it seemed like to me when I ordered another copy super cheap just to see what kind of box I'd get. But, yeah, I thought that game was okay. What is it, Park Patrol?
Yes.
Yeah. It was okay, not great, but it's a good game to like burn some portable time with. But I wouldn't rate it very highly.
So yeah, okay.
It'd probably be like a 7.5, 7.
And now we're starting to touch on my feelings of the Chibi Robo series, but I wanna talk about Chibi Robo Ziplash, which might actually be my favorite one, which I got back into. I played a level, thought it was so slow and boring, and then I got back into it, and I like that game more and more the more I play. It plays like Yoshi's Island, Kirby, and Bionic Commando put together in a very weird way, and a strange methodical puzzle platformer that doesn't always work, and I would call maybe 20% of its levels not very good. But like with every flawed Chibi Robo game, there's an unmistakable charm in Chibi Robo himself. And I think I tweeted this out earlier today, where the Chibi Robo series is a 10 out of 10 character stuck in 7 out of 10 video games. It's because you play the original Chibi Robo, he has this cute, quirky little personality. He runs around holding his little plug, and he's just a lot of fun to play as. But then there's this methodical cleaning gameplay, which is like a really good time at first, but then I kind of fell off. And then in this game, you have the platformer stuff, which kind of reminds me of like the Arzest platformers, like Pikmin and Yoshi's New Island, how they're lacking, and they're kind of sort of long drawn out levels, and they don't necessarily feel as great as they could. But in that, you have Chibi Robo doing his little dances, and then he picks up these real life snacks from around the world, like Utz chips, and what was it? There was Hubba Bubba, there was
Mentos, I think, was in there.
Mentos was in there. I got some Mentos, and then my favorite one was Airheads, because it finally confirmed something that I always felt, that Airheads is actually a form of taffy, and they referred to it as taffy strips, which I'm glad that someone finally admitted. But then you pick up this candy, it presents you like, oh, Mentos, and then he does this little dance to the tune of a little song that plays behind him, and it's just the cutest thing in the world. And I really wish that a character that cute and that fun, who has such a good amiibo, by the way, would get a better game. And I don't want to blame Skip, because they're probably also the reason why Chibi Robo is as lovable of a character as he is. But I would almost rather that, what if another studio tried making a Chibi Robo game?
I just want them to make another Chibi Robo closer to the original.
They made a sequel, but it didn't come out here. It was the daughter in the original game. They made a game with her and her son that released in Japan only. It was a full sequel on the DS, and she's like living in squalor. It's like even more depressing than the first one, apparently. And it's supposed to be great.
Oh yeah, if that's what that second game is, I didn't really look in to see what it was. I really want to play it. I wish there was an English version.
There are ways to play that game in English, probably. I don't know, but don't do it.
I want to build.
Yeah.
Copy.
Mother 3 for Chibi Robo 2. Dale Ailing asks, is Park Patrol better than Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
I'm going to go with yes.
Yes. There's a game there, and there's less I have to look to clean up in the world for than Breath of the Wild, where they hid 900 poo pieces around the earth.
Somehow there's more cleaning in Breath of the Wild than there is about in a Chibi Robo game.
Yes. I will say that Chibi Robo, I'd rather play Chibi Robo Park Patrol again than Breath of the Wild. I will go there and say that.
The last thing I'll say about Ziplash is it's like $8 on Amazon if anyone's living in the US. I think it's definitely worth that much. It's not a bad game by any stretch. I'd probably give it around a 7. But the thing that I'm liking is that I got the amiibo in the mail today because I bought it separately, and I realized that I love the character Chibi Robo, and it has a lot of good... It might be one of the best uses of amiibo I've seen yet, where you can level up the amiibo on the pedestal, and it unlocks multiple features. One, it allows you to do a capsule machine where you can unlock various trophies in the game, Smash Bros. Style. Two, it allows you to put a Super Chibi Robo into the game on a level-by-level basis. Like, I think to start, you can put them in 1 level per day, and then as you beat more levels and get more points, you can then do that more than 1 time a day. But the biggest thing of all is that there is a 7th world exclusively for the amiibo. So after you beat the game in the capsule machine, you can unlock the levels in World 7. And I know some people really hate that because they're going to say that's content in the main game. But you have 6 worlds of content right there, and I think amiibo only works when you do bolder content like this. Because when you don't do that, you end up in the situation where people are like, oh, there's nothing you can do with amiibo. Like, in this game, it feels like there's something you can do with amiibo. And it's good that this game mostly packaged the amiibo and the game together. I think you can get both for $15 on Amazon right now. And then I got the amiibo itself for $9.99 yesterday, and I probably got the game for $12 like a year ago. But I don't know. As a Yoshi's Island, Bionic Commando, Kirby type thing, it's pretty good. It's better than the Arzest Yoshi's Island game. Probably comparable in quality to the Pikmin game, which I thought was pretty good. So it was okay. I don't remember it, but I remember enjoying it in the moment.
It was like an average game.
Yeah.
Those games like that are just, I play them. They're not great. They're not terrible. They're just average. So it's not bad if you just want a game to play.
It's a good enough game to beat, which I would say Chibi Robo Ziplash is too. It's a good enough game to beat, but unlike Pikmin, which Pikmin kind of felt like it was mostly devoid of charm, other than like when you would find a Game Boy or a Game Boy cartridge of Zelda Link's Awakening, like that stuff was cool. This game does feel like it has a lot of charm. The characters are constantly dancing. There's the real life snacks is a strangely brilliant mechanic. And then I also like the fact that all of the worlds in the game are based on real life locations. So chapter 1 is I'm trying to figure it out.
I remember it being tropical, so maybe Hawaii.
So, but chapter 2 was North Africa. And then chapter 5, you go to the United States. And then it's one of the chapters. And then there's also one where you go to Europe. And it's kind of like a globe-trotting adventure. And the music kind of feels like it fits. The music's really good in that game, too. They made a game with personality. The problem is, I don't think Skip has made that many actually wonderful video games.
No, but it does have the charm necessary to make the character good. But
yeah,
game design needs to be better.
Enough charm where I can say that Chibi Robo is a 10 out of 10 Nintendo character, even though he has only appeared in 7 out of 10 video games.
I think that's fair. But I'd probably rate the original a little higher.
Yeah, I guess I'm going by it as someone who played the game for the first time in 2018. So,
Most people played the game when it came out, considering I think it launched the same year the Wii came out. I think early 2006, if I'm not mistaken. In the United States, anyway.
All right, moving on. There's my little chibi segment. Donald, tell me about Luminous Remastered.
Yeah, I wrote the review for Luminous Remastered. That game is stunningly addictive, to the point that when I picked up the when I was literally writing the review, I was picking up the game to check something, and it's like, oh god, I want to play this again. I need to put this down now. And even when I went to get footage for the video review, it still took me like I went to grab like 5 minutes because that's how long it took me to read the review, and I went for an hour and 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a good amount, huh?
Yeah. And I didn't even unlock everything. I still have to go back and do that, so I'll be pretty busy the next few weeks, but yeah, so it's for those who haven't played a Luminous game before, which probably could be a few of you, considering it's never come out on a Nintendo system before this week. It's basically you're playing in a horizontal puzzle field, and you're dropping 2x2 squares into the field, and when you get a solid color, a timeline is going across the screen constantly, and it sweeps it away. So you get your drops out of that. Some of the problems that we would have with that are like if you make a match and the timeline's sort of in the middle of it, it'll take the second half away, but not the first.
Okay.
And things like that. But the big thing with the Switch version is the fact that you can do the HD rumble, and that is actually a pretty good massage.
Yeah. Yeah. And so does it work really well? I know that it allows you to do HD rumble all over your body.
Yeah, like you can hook, if you have access to 8 Joy-Cons, Justin, then you probably can, then you can go in, like you can put them all over your body and you can feel the music. It goes into highest possible gear at that point.
It's only $15
for this.
A what?
Yeah, it's only 15.
They need to release a Labo suit for this to hold everything in the right.
They actually had like a suit at GDC for it, and people were getting into it.
It's only $15, which means I have too much in my backlog right now because I've started playing games in my backlog, which is a nightmarish endeavor when you have hundreds and hundreds of games. But I want to play this, and I want to experience the luminous joy that everyone else has. So I think I'm going to wait for the first price drop this game gets. Not price drop, but the first time it goes on sale. Even if it's just a few dollars less, and that's when I'll probably get it.
Well, if you're starting with the original Chibi Robo in your backlog, who knows how big that thing actually is?
Well, that one was kind of curiosity. Okay. I played an accessible version of that game, if you know what I'm saying. And then I also tried Metroid Prime. So that one's a pretty good game too. Although that one's kind of difficult to play because you can't actually. It's kind of a dual stick first person shooter that you only control with one stick. So it's kind of weird not being able to really look down and up much at all outside of using like that special button combo. But the intro to that game is very powerful. Anyways.
And a Games Done Quick game break in the middle of a Super Mario Brothers 3 race, one of the systems locked up.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Did I mention that they were in Bowser's Castle?
Ooh. And then the 3DS, wasn't there a 3DS that broke a day or two ago?
At this point, I'm wondering if it might have just been part of the show, because when they were doing Super Mario 3D Land Warpless, in like this third to last level, they kept running into the lava long enough to trigger the Mushroom of Shame, or the Suit of Shame, I guess. So they basically just, like I said, I think that might have been part of the show, just as they could have a P-Wing disc do a level skip.
Yeah.
But man, what a way to lose your run. Like both guys were under par, and then one of the system just goes black screen of death.
That's brutal. Does that mean they just stop, or do they do it again off camera and then bring it back, or do they do it again?
I think he just broke the game again. So at that point he just went into play around mode.
Yeah. Okay.
Way to end the show with.
Okay. So Luminous is recommended.
Yeah. I gave it a really good score. Like I said, the review that last playthrough that I recorded is also linked in the review. Unfortunately, because I was only grabbing a few minutes of footage, there's no audio attached to it.
I see. Well, considering we spent an hour on everything except news, we should probably spend a little time on news too.
Yeah.
We've been doing this new business thing lately, which I've been really enjoying, although I question whether it gets in the way of the actual news part. People in the chat, feel free to tell me what you think on whether we should continue doing the new business stuff first, or if you think we should go to the news first, or if you think we should do an abbreviated stuff. I know Justin talked about his E3 stuff, so it's
that's kind of news. I mean, it's something I just did yesterday.
Yeah, it's new to you. Yeah. All right. Tatsumi Kimishima yesterday passed the torch to Shuntaro Furukawa as the next global president of Nintendo. That's cool. He did a nice little Japanese businessman addressy note, which I don't mean to be patronizing. I just mean I haven't read it yet. So I mean to read that probably right after the show. But it seems like it's a professional businessman. I hope we can work together, future of this company type stuff. But I think it's cool that Nintendo has a new president, even though Kimishima seemed to be pretty likable by all accounts.
Yeah, but Kimishima was like we said at the time that the announcement was made that Furukawa was taking over. Kimishima was always a caretaker. He was going to be there for a couple of years, and then he was going to pass the torch along to somebody younger. In this case, Furukawa was only 47, 46.
Yeah. He's their long-term plan.
And he always seemed like kind of like a reserved kind of background type of guy. And a few times I tried to talk to him or whatever, he just seemed kind of surprised I even knew who he was. This was around 2005, I think. It's just like, me? Like, you're like the head of NOA, right? So like, I don't know. He never seemed like a guy who was going to be in your face like Iwata, and I don't expect Furukawa to be either, but time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Yokai Watch Busters got announced for 3DS today. I mean, in addition, as my prediction that Level 5 would have a big E3 presence, I didn't expect it to have a big presence immediately after E3. Those games are coming out in September, and they're bringing both of the games over, which I think is crazy. It's Yokai Watch Blasters, not Busters, and it's coming out on September 7th, North America and Europe, and it is a 3DS action title, 2 versions, Red Cat Core, and the White Dog Squad Vacation. Everything I remember from this game is that it wasn't good.
Yeah, it's like it's an expanded version of the action minigame from Yokai Watch 2, which I haven't played Yokai Watch 2, but when I saw of the game at E3, this will probably fly in Europe because Yokai Watch is abnormally big there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get a game of it around here.
Okay. Yeah. And we were talking about before the show the potential for Yokai Watch 3 to come west. And I actually think that because of this, there's a very high chance for Yokai Watch 3 to come west. Because I bet this is easy not easy, because no game is probably easy, but it's probably easy-ish content for them to put out and say, hey, in 2019, we're going to have a major Yokai Watch game to put out. And that's going to be a big deal. Or it's not going to be a big deal, but they can pass it off as a big deal, as our quote-unquote big boy game coming out on the 3DS in 2019. So I think Level 5 is going to play a hand in extending the life of the 3DS.
Well, Nintendo's publishing these, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is the right type of game for the audience they're aiming at for the 3DS family of systems at this time.
Yeah. They're aiming for the kid audience, right? At this point.
That's the point of bringing out these games for the younger set on 3DS, because again, as we've said multiple times before, the Switch is a $300 system, and I'm not going to trust a 6 or 7 year old with a $300 system when there's a $150 system that's way tougher.
Yeah,
especially when there's no cloud saves or anything yet.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the game's coming out so soon. It reminds me of how Samus Returns came out within about a week or so of this, right?
Yeah, it was like the 15th of September last year.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess it makes sense that this is here, but I'm surprised they didn't mention this in the treehouse. Maybe they thought this would give it a little more breathing room to put it out here.
Give it its own day on the schedule.
Yeah, yeah. Because I guess Samus Returns made a lot more sense because it was a big deal that there was a 2D Metroid game coming out. That was a good game. I hope they do something else with it. I came to a realization the other day that I've played way more Metroid than I actually think I had. With Zero Mission and Samus Returns, I've played a version of both 1 and 2. I've played some Super Metroid. I've beat Fusion. I played most of Metroid Prime Hunters. I played through Other M, and I'm playing through Prime 1 now. So I think I'm excited to have the right to play as Ridley when that game comes out in December. Let's see what else we have. There's only a little bit more news. Ys 8, Donald, what's this all about?
Oh boy, Nisa's having a very rough year when it comes to Ys 8. You might have heard that the piece that they were trying to bring that game to Steam. That has been one ginormous cluster F. And then the Switch version comes out, and we reviewed it. Casey liked it, and then we get an email from NIS America, who's publishing it on the 20th of June, basically saying there's going to be some patches starting on day 1 to fix some stuttering issues, and turns out those didn't arrive, and also the localization, which was famously overhauled for this game once already. Apparently, I don't know if they use the old one on the Switch version, but yeah, they need to fix that too.
Yeah, that sounds like a disaster. It might even be one of the Switch's biggest disasters.
Yeah, and not only that, today we got word that there was some free DLC that was supposed to be included with the Switch release, compensation for the fact that the game came out late, and it's crashing systems. So they've had to pull that.
Great. Does Nintendo, I know that Nintendo does some quality control making sure the games work, but I'm surprised this stuff doesn't go through. Doesn't Nintendo have this penalty system, or is it Sony where they fine you?
I think it's Sony that does that. Nintendo is supposed to have a very good lot check, but it may be for the base game and not for the the localized versions, shall we say.
I see.
But yeah, at this point, the definitive version of Ys 8 still, I think, is the Vita version.
Yeah, that's a little. I would say that's sad, but I'm always heartened whenever I hear the Vita does something right.
Yeah, I know I'm hoping at some point that Nisa is going to be bringing the Danganronpa trilogy to Switch. If they do, I really hope they get it right the first time, because I don't want to have to go through this with a series that I really love.
I hope they fit the whole trilogy on one cartridge, though I doubt it.
They should be able to. I mean, it might be like an 8 gig cart, or even but I think 8 isn't 8 the baseline system at this point, or is it 16? Or they could do the Capcom thing and make part one a regular one. You get one on the card and you have to download 2 and 3.
Yeah, I guess the smart business move is that if they were going to do that soon, it would probably make more sense to do the first 3 Danganronpa, so the first 2 in the spin-off on one, and then 3 on another. Or they might just port 3 over, because 3 is basically a reboot, right?
Reboot, and also the ending of that game is, shall we say, divisive because of what it does to the series.
The first Danganronpa had actually, I'm pretty sure they've all had divisive endings. At least based on, I still need to play the third one, but from what I remember about 1 and 2, it was like I didn't like the ending for 1, and then I was like, 2, I don't know if I like the ending either.
Let me just say, without spoiling anything, what they do at the end of 3, it really makes you wonder just what you were doing in the first 2 games.
Oh wow! Okay. All right. So there you go. There's some ease. Mario Kart 8 has Labo support.
Sure, why not?
You can use the Labo motorbike, and then you can play it Wii style, basically, where you turn the thing, and then you turn the cart. And I have no intention of playing that mode, but it's cool that it exists, and it's cool that it got its own press release.
Yeah,
it's a very Nintendo thing to do.
Yeah, and I just, you know what the real moneymaker is with this?
What?
Daemon X Machina with the robot kit.
That is not going to make any money, but I think it would be cool if they did it.
I would actually buy a Labo kit if they did that.
Yeah.
And they did say in that press release that other Nintendo games will get Labo support in the future.
All right. There isn't really much to say about Mario Kart 8. The last story we have is that 2K announced a Carnival Games for Switch coming out November 6th, which I think is so funny.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's going to be if the system is successful, then this stuff is going to come. Like they've got to fill that shelf at Walmart, which right now for me at least is filled with copies of Cinemora and This Is the Police, and all those, and then like Cartoon Network Battle Crashers.
Has there been a series that has gone on this long that has ridden off the coattails of its first game and nothing else? Cooking Mama is close.
Yeah, I think those are the two.
Yeah. It's just made one really popular game and then made a several game series just off the popularity of that game going. But maybe people are buying it.
They must be. I mean, they put the thing up for PSVR.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm open to buying that things down the line, but I don't know. I think you need to move.
Reminds me of a game you and I tried at E3 once, Alex.
Fun Fair Party Games?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called.
It was a very nice couple people. It was you and me, and I think there might have been a couple other people. And they showed us a dev kit 3DS, or the unit where they had their game on it. And then the whole appointment was standing outside of the food court at E3 2013. And we played the game, and they told me about their sort of bug testing process, which involved just a bunch of their friends. And I don't know. I remember playing the game and thinking it was okay when it came out ultimately.
Didn't have online and a bunch of people from the site played it or something, or review. I don't know. Something weird happened with that game.
We wrote a really long review of that game because I think 4 of us played it. I think 4 of us got codes. Maybe I'll break it out and play it. I might have it downloaded still.
No, that's a lot like Carnival Games from my understanding.
Yeah. All right. That is a perfectly good time to end the show.
If we're talking about Fun Fair Party Games, we probably should have thrown the brakes on this like 20 months ago.
All right, I'm gonna go watch some summer games done quick.
Looks like they're going to Super Mario World next.
Ooh, that's fun. I might go back and watch the Paper Mario one. All right, that's our show. Go to NintendoWorldReport.com, read all the fun reviews that are out. Go to Patreon.com/NWR to support the site that supports the show. Go to Nintendo World Report TV to see lots of great video content. Go to Twitter.com, hacker alias at Donald Mick, DONALDMICK, to get Donald's sweet content. Go to King Nintendo Fan to get Justin's sweet Nintendo content. And then follow me at Kulafia, CULAFIA, featuring teases of Nintendo news reports and a story about how I went to the ER for an allergic reaction. So there's some really good stuff you can get on twitter.com/Kalafia. Have a good,
Thanks to young Neil on finally coming home.
Yes. Oh, it's Neil Jr.'s home.
He's out of the NICU and he's home.
Did he say there was a name yet?
I think he did.
We don't need to say it here.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not our.
I believe he is named after a Fire Emblem Fates character, though.
Oh, I see. Tharja.
Yes, little Tharja. That'd be awkward because Tharja's a female.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
All right.
Good night.